All right, so we're speeding, and welcome Bill Barnes, Dr. Bill Barnes, Billy Money.
Good to see you. Been a while since we've seen each other.
Yes, it was warmer, huh? Summer.
Well, actually, it's still warm here.
Oh, that's right. I'm so mad at you.
82 degrees, sunshine. Yeah, it's nice.
It's a rough life. We'll say where you are for those of.
I'm in Forsyth, Georgia, or Indian Springs, Georgia. It's just about 50 miles south of Atlanta and about 40 miles north of Macon, which is just right off the I-75.
Aha.
And we live on a ranch. We do a cow-calf operation. We have about 200 mama cows. And then we ride outside horses for people. And we also start colts. And we have a breeding program here. And I take on some interns and help them with their journey in horsemanship.
Yes, so cool. I didn't realize you guys were starting colts for the public.
Yes, we've just started doing that.
Cool.
And me.
Right on. Well, so how many have you done this year? Is that
we just started? I think we actually, it's kind of funny. We've had started riding outside horses, and we've had 4 so far. We started just like 3 months ago.
Cool. There's always a need for a good start.
It's there's a lot of people in this area who need help.
I feel like there's never going to be enough help for everyone, you know?
Well, Buck and I were talking, last clinics when he was here in September, and I said, well, people are always coming up, especially in these Eastern clinics. Hey, who's going to help me to do this? And so I said, I feel like I need to step up. And then Buck said, yep, you do. But, I don't want to be a clinician. I never have wanted to be a clinician, but I do want to share what I know. And there's so much misinformation out there. And there's so much noise. It's confusing for people to find out, who do I listen to?
Yeah, that's a good point about the noisiness of it all, and a person could get lost pretty.
Yeah, because they're so thirsty, they're so hungry for it, and so they're very susceptible. Right.
Yeah. And all roads don't lead to the same place.
What's so great about Buck, with especially like the last video he did with the snaffle bit video. Everything is not there, but everything is there. You can't put everything there, but there is a pattern that you need to understand that fits a horse. That goes through the progressions of the laterals and the longitudinals, and putting all that together, and he even does some roping on the video, show a horse having a job. Learning this process is something that people can study, and it causes them to ask questions, and they're not going to be around Buck all the time, and so there's that need to have someone they can come to who is more connected to that process. And that's what we're trying to do, to help people.
Cool.
It's more like being available for, might call it a lesson. I told Buck, I'm not going to be a clinician. If you catch me being a clinician, you can shoot me. But it's a fine line between the two.
Yeah, I share a similar sentiment as you, in the sense that teaching clinics always seems like such a big responsibility. But on the other hand, I don't know that, do we want to discourage everyone from doing little group lessons? I don't know about that. I think especially in areas where it's needed.
I think the bottom line is respecting and honoring the people that brought you to the dance. And, I have so much respect for Buck. I'm going to always err on caution. I don't want to disrespect what he's done. And I don't begin to think that I'm all that to where, I'm going to hang my shingle out. But like Buck said, be absolutely sure about what you do know, and you can share what you do know. So that's how I feel about it. I'm willing to share the things I do know, and I'm not willing to go beyond that.
That's the magic formula, right?
And I'm going to always point back to Buck.
Right. I was just telling him that the other day too. I don't want to have to be you. You're you.
I'm not going to ever pass Buck because he gets better every day. I do too, but he's way out there, So, he'll always be the guy that I'm following, chasing.
I think that's one of, that's one of my criteria of people that I will champion, and as we move forward, I think is someone who is continuously learning, right? And particularly someone that's continuously going back to, the teacher, to stay on the straight and narrow and to stay close to the source, even as you branch out and become your own artist. I think for me, it's important. I always respect someone who's continuously learning and developing their own horses as well. And that's a discipline, as you know, right? Like, especially when you get a business going or multiple businesses, if you have another job. And then to be like, okay, but I'm still developing a few horses.
Yeah, but you take because you're successful at other things, you take those same success principles and you bring it to the horse. And then you got to add a little something different, feel,
heart and soul, blood, sweat, tears.
But it's not so much, like I'll compare it to orthopedics or medicine. There are mechanical things you learn to do. You have to read the book. You have to understand the anatomy. You have to then different approach to do a certain procedure. Now, there's some feel to that because don't cut that. How you retract tissue with respect, and there's the art part of it, that you are an artist creating something out of something that's destroyed to make it more functional.
Oh my gosh, wait, go back though. What did you say? Retract tissue? What does that mean?
Well, you have to, as you can retract tissue, spread tissue apart to retract it so you can see what you're doing. You can do it with respect, or you can do it maybe not with as much feel as you could have. And I think it makes a difference in the outcome of the surgery.
In other words, what you're trying to say is you can either just hack someone open or you can
you can be an artist.
I got it. Okay.
And then music, because my background is that's kind of a lot more like the horsemanship, because there's the technicality of playing the chords and chord progressions and learn how to sing better. But the feel of having, a lot of people say I write songs, but then there are songs that they just match the chord progression and the words, and the beat of the song matches the words, and the feel of the song, the emotion of it, and that becomes art. And take that and put that in hyperdrive, and that's horsemanship done well. It's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
I agree.
You learn all the mechanical things. You start, the horse journey. If you're fortunate, you feel, well, this is a mechanical thing I have to do. I have to learn this, and I have to learn that, and learn that. And those things just the mechanical things come a little quicker. But then you start realizing that you've got a communication problem with this animal you're riding, and you're not speaking the same language. So you keep adding layers to it as you go through your journey, and as you go along, you find out you know less and less, and then that's when the door opens to learn, you know.
So when you got into horses, was it really apparent to you that there was that unconscious artistic element like right away, or was it a little bit farther down the line?
No, I in 1996, I was asked to be the orthopedic surgeon for the Olympics, and I'd say I'd
So cool.
go anywhere. They give you an assignment. They gave me the horse part. I didn't ask for the horse part.
God, the universe.
You know, so God put me in the horse park, and I thought, well, how many doctors are for the horse park? All these athletes. One, you. But they were like all these psychiatrists, massage therapists, and everybody in the world for the horses. I mean, I was the one physician. There were like thousands of professionals for the horses. I thought, boy, that's something else. So every day I would go out there and watch the horses. I'd walk around, I had nothing else to do. And I just watch, and I just kind of was amazed. I mean, when I grew up, you know, a couple of my sisters wanted horses. My dad, they went through the horse phase, got him a horse. And I didn't ride too much until my little sister got a horse. And it was supposed to be some kind of wild barrel racing crazy horse. And then she rode it a little bit for maybe a year. And then it just sat down there in the stall, and we didn't mess with it. And I went out west for a trip when I was 15 years old with my brothers, and came back home. I had a cowboy hat, some boots, and I was 15 years old. And I said, I'm going to ride a horse. So I never didn't know anything about a horse. I just went down there, got the blanket, put it on there, put the saddle on there. Somehow or another got the bit in it and took off. And for about 2 weeks, I cantered and rode that thing and trotted it all over the hills and down everything. And then when I got done, somebody said, you didn't get bucked off? I said, no. And then I discovered girls, and I quit riding.
Yeah. Sometimes that happens to girls too. They discover boys and they quit riding.
And so I didn't ride again until 1998. And then through that Olympic experience, I came home, told Nancy, you know, we need to get some horses. We need to sell our big house and get some land and have some horses. And she said, where did you put my husband? Where is he? And then at that point in time, I called a friend of mine and I said, hey, we need some horses. And I'd like to get 5 horses, you know, one for each girl and one for Nancy, one for me. And so he went up to this, you know, sale barn, which was, you know, not that great. He bought 5 horses. We all bought saddles and we got on them. And I don't know why nobody got bucked off, but nobody did. And we just kind of survived.
Grace of God.
Yes. Nancy got kicked 3 times by another horse while she was riding the first time. So she wasn't too excited about it. But that went along for a little while, and all they were doing trail riding. I said, I'm going to quit this. But I heard about this guy who was doing a clinic. And so they told me, and I said, well, I don't need that. I said, but my wife, my daughter, they probably need it. So I put them in the trailer and hauled them over there, and they went to the clinic. And the first day Nancy came home and she said, oh, darling, I have found your passion. You are going to eat this up. So I have found it. So what is it? It's this horsemanship stuff. You got to come tomorrow afternoon. So I came over there, and when I just saw what they were doing, I said, I was amazed.
Now, okay, so the video cut out just a tiny bit. Was that a buck clinic?
No, it was not a buck clinic.
Okay.
It was a guy named Bob King.
Okay, so this is what Buck had told me. Okay, Bob King. Got
Bob
it.
King. And so after that, I started pursuing it, and then we got rid of those older horses, got other horses. And then I figured it was all coming from Buck Brandon. So I said, okay, I got to find out where this guy is. I got to watch him. So I drive up to Travelers Rest, South Carolina, and I ride up there, and Kip had just started working for him. And
Kip Fladland.
Yeah. And I didn't know anything. So he saw me standing there. He came up and got my money. And I saw Buck riding around. And after about 30 minutes, I said to myself, that's what I want to look like. So I'm gonna where he is, I'm gonna figure out how to chase him around. And so that's when it started.
Yes.
I didn't go to a clinic of Bucks until I had this, Bob King was putting a clinic on in Cochise, somewhere in Arizona. I forgot the town. And I drove all the way out there to it. And I met some friends out there. But then I started going to like 2 a year, then 3 a year, then 4 a year. And then, ended up meeting some people and buying a ranch in Nebraska, which we had for about 15, 16 years, and started ranch here. And just one thing led to the next. And here I am.
It's amazing how fast time flies. But I would be curious, what was it about the horsemanship that Nancy knew would be your thing? Like, what was there? Did she ever verbalize that?
Probably have to ask her, but I think I could answer it for her. I love animals, and I've always been interested in horses. And so when we got the horses, and we had that, a year and a half or so where we were trying to figure out if horses were going to be a part of our life, I made comments like, gosh, it's so good for me. I'm through the busy day surgery, and I go out there on the farm because my family had some land. And once I get on that horse, after about 10 minutes, as long as I stay on that horse, I just don't have any worries or any concerns. I'm just good. And sometimes I don't want to get off because like jumping back into the fire. So she said, well, I hate to, kind of encourage you to do this because I know what you're going to do. You do with everything you. So I go crazy about it. But she's to blame. So.
That's so cool. Well, we appreciate that.
She actually rode for a while, and then she had a little accident, and then she just didn't want to ride anymore.
It's unfortunate how swiftly that can happen. With new people, I always say, just if you're interested in horses, if you're excited about it, that's one of the things I feel like is so important at the beginning, that we get people to folks who know how to keep them safe for a long enough time that they build up enough credits within themselves. Then if they have a little accident, it's not the end of the world. But it's really important who you're around at the beginning so that you can have enough credits in the bank for yourself so you don't lose your confidence.
Yeah, if they will listen to you.
Well, some people, I think this goes back to your point though about needing boots on the ground everywhere. And there are more all the time, right? Where people can get with somebody skilled enough that they know the basics so that they're not going against the horse's nature, which is then inevitably going to be a disaster.
Well, it's caring about the horse and caring about people.
Right. So
they end up having a good experience, and they are able to pursue the journey for a long time. And I think some of the times that's having people help them, find the right horse for them too at the right time.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Because the horse that you have at the beginning might not be the horse, that you need.
I'll tell you a funny story. I got these horses in 2000. I decided, well, somebody told me that the Sixes Ranch has these great horse program. So I went out there with some people, and I went to sale at the Pitchfork, and I came home with 9 horses.
9?
9. I think it was 9, maybe it's 7. It was a lot of horses. And so then I bred them, the mares, I bred them to, actually, it was Tucker, Tang Tucker, the
Singer?
country music singer.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And she had a stud, Jesse Ray Tari, and it was here in Georgia. And so I bred them to the Cutton stud.
All of them?
Yep. And so
Oh,
I had
no.
a baby.
Oh, no.
So I started these horses, and one was out of a dual pep. And so I had a friend here that had been riding with Peter Campbell, kind of helped me start my first 2 horses. I never started a horse before. I just said, show me how to start a horse. And I got in the round corral. He was on the side of the round corral. He told me what to do. I started 2 horses, and I just assumed they're all going to go that good, And so then this one horse, though, was I was going to start him, and he's a dual pep, and he was like the 6th horse I'd started. But when I got on him, he was so light, it scared me,
Oh, yeah.
It scared me because he was so light, And I think it was probably I got a little bit better after five colts. I started like this,
That's like me. We're like experts for sure.
I got about maybe 10 rides on him, and he was like, I'm afraid he was going to go out from under me. He was so light and so fast. So I decided I need to sell him because he's too much for me. So I put him up for sale, and some gypsies came to the ranch, and I thought, well, this is going to be interesting. See them. They brought their saddle, put them in. I thought they were going to get bucked off and leave, and they saddled him, rode around on him like there was nothing to it. They were buckaroos or something. And I'd already priced them at $1,200. They loaded them up, took them away. And I thought to myself at that point in time, I said, I'll never do that again. I said, I'll probably let the best horse I'll probably ever have in my life go because I didn't know what I was doing. It's kind of funny. But the gypsies got a great horse.
Unavoidable.
They never even asked for the papers. He's probably pulling a cart or something.
Oh, man. Wow. Do you have any of those horses still? The ones that you started with?
Yes, I have one. He's 20 years old. Yeah.
I think I know his name, but
No, that's Rawhide.
Rawhide, yeah.
His name is Doc. He's
Oh, okay. Okay. I was thinking Rawhide's the one that I get to come rope on, right? The safe one.
Oh, he's a bomb.
Yeah, that's what I need.
He really is bomb proof. And I thought about selling him. We talked about today. And I said he's a kid's horse. And then we were talking, well, you probably couldn't get much for him. Somebody ought to pay $50,000 for him because it's like a, health insurance.
Yep. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I was one of the things I was going to ask you is what horse are you the most excited? Because I know Pete. So Pete, was Pete your first bridle horse?
No, he's second.
So, okay.
I use that term loosely.
Wow.
Now that I'm a little further along.
What are we going to do? We have to use some language, right? I know.
Well, all I can say is I'm probably the slowest person to make transitions into the next step. And I have to blame Buck on this. My first bridle horse, he said, go ahead, go ahead, put it in two rein. And the next one, he said, yeah, you should go ahead and put it in the two rein,
That's what he always does to me too.
I knew I wasn't ready, but anyway, so the next one is Kitty. And, I forever was in the snaffle bit, and finally a couple of guys and Buck came to me and said, why are you doing the snaffle? I said, was waiting for somebody to tell me to go in the bowls all close. I don't want to be a cheater or pretender, although, maybe I am, but I don't want to be one. So I want to make sure.
But the condition of your heart is what makes you a cheater or not a cheater.
Yeah, I think I just don't want to be a pretender, but Kitty is, I would say that she's the one. She's an amazing horse.
And how old is she now?
She's turning 7.
7.
I didn't start her. I started when she was 2 years old. She got hurt, and then we didn't ride her for a year. Then I started her again, and then she got hurt again, and she was 6 months before I could even do anything with her. So I waited a year. So I really started riding her when she was 4.5.
Wow. So when you brought her to Dayton, to the Dayton clinic.
I started her in Dayton. I did.
Okay.
Remember that?
Do you want to tell the story about the fence?
Do you want to tell it?
No, I don't want to tell it.
The story about the fence, I tell it in a way that makes me look a lot better than when.
That's why you should tell it.
And so mine is the truth. So it was the corner of the arena, and somebody had put a panel so it wasn't a corner, so a panel across the corner.
Just one panel like there.
Yeah. Zip ties. I didn't realize that zip ties had been there for 30 years. So,
this was the indoor arena at the Columbia County Fairgrounds in Dayton.
Yeah, just pulling them up beside us, and that was going good. Everything's good, and I was sitting on her and then getting off and sitting on her, getting off. And so I went sit on her, and she kind of moved away a little bit, and I held on to the panel. And when she pulled, well, the zip ties broke. And so we were falling to the right. I could have jumped and gone back to the panel, and the panel fell on me, and I might have gotten hurt. Or I could have just gotten on the horse and just kind of rode away. So I figured getting on the horse seemed safer to me. So I just got on the horse, and everything was just doing good. We were getting our first ride. It was fine.
That was the
Bender, and I hear this madman from the round corral yelling at me, "Get off, get off, get off." So I said, "Why? She's doing fine. Get off, get off." So I jumped, got off. So
that was good how that worked out. I mean, she was good about it,
but I just trust Buck. He told me to get off, so I got off.
Well,
I don't argue unless we're on the golf course.
Yeah. And because you were the better golfer for a long time.
Well, I won't comment.
That was the problem actually that year, is you were kind of beating him a lot on the golf course. Well, and then it was payback.
It has been said I'm too sexy for my clubs.
Oh my God. That's why you have to have these metallic cat horses, right? So that
that's right. Well, or I will argue with him when he tries to pretend to be a doctor. He says he has a degree,
Oh, right. He does have an honorary degree, though.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'll tell a couple of cute stories. I'll make them quick. So the first time Buck wanted me to operate on him, he had it was a minor procedure, but he had to go to sleep. And while he was going to sleep, I kind of know he's very much wanting to be in control.
Me too. Yes.
So as he was going to sleep, kind of that droggy thing where you're going to sleep, I leaned over to him and I said, "I am now in control." And he was going to sleep, and he woke up like he was going to back up, So that was kind of funny.
That's mean.
He woke up and he was kind of like, so fast forward another, 6 years. This June, I don't know. I guess I can say he tore his meniscus. So we had to do a little scope on him. And so while he was going to sleep, he says, Billy, come here. I have something to tell you. He says, Billy, he's been one of my best students. I think it's time for me to tell him the secret to horsemanship. Come closer, come closer. Timed it up with an anesthesiologist that as soon as he said that, he was to give him the juice.
Oh,
He said, come closer, come closer. He says, the secret is.
nice.
So he had a big time with that.
Payback. Oh my gosh. So how?
I'd say we're back to the kitty. I'd say she's the best horse I've had, but I love the metallic cat thoroughbred crosses that I have. And we crossed metallic cat to Pete's mama this last time and got a really nice mare. And then the Fultz family who owned metallic cat sold him, and I had 2 more breedings. And when they transferred him, when he was sold for some amazing amount of money, they didn't transfer my 2 breedings. So when I called them, they had no record of it. So I called her, and I'll tell you what, she's a great girl. They're a great family. They're the best. She said, well, how would you like to have 4 breedings to metallic cat's son? So Stevie Ray Vaughan, I think is his name.
Okay, so for those of you who are listening that they're maybe not necessarily cow horse people, but surely you've heard of metallic cat. But if you have not, YouTube him, and you will see some pretty rad cow working.
Yeah, that Buck's got a stud out of a metallic cat, which is, he's, I guess campaigning, you might say, but so they're that athletic
Guapo
ability,
horse,
athletic ability of the Guapo horse, athletic ability with the thoroughbred, and I this is not me, Buck recommended to me. He said, we were sitting here one day. He said, I said, I like to breed a metallic cat. He says, you ought to buy a thoroughbred.
Oh yeah.
And put the thoroughbred back to the court horse. So I got Charlie Lepresti, I think that's right. Lexington, and we went to sell together, and we bought a few thoroughbreds, and that's when we started doing that.
And are those babies are how old now?
So that's Kitty. So there's coming up 7, coming up 6.
Oh, okay.
4, and coming up 2.
Okay.
And we've got 4 more breedings left.
Wow, that's a lot of horses. It gets to be a lot. So
we got to start breeding or selling or doing something. Just kind of keep collecting them, like kids.
I know.
And dogs,
Yes. So one of the things I wanted to know from you is, so you got into this horse deal, and as you're going along, was there anything in particular that really kind of surprised you as you started to really study horsemanship?
Yeah, how difficult it was.
Was that really a surprise?
Well, I kind of thought, it wasn't going to be that hard, but I was naive. I didn't know, but how hard it was. Yeah, how much I had to reach down in here to get it, and just I first read Tom Dorrance's book, and I thought, this guy's from some other planet, the way he's talking, and I just put it down after about 2 chapters, and now, 18 years later, going back to it, I'm saying, man, I understand so much more of this than I did before. It's just it's an intuitive way of thinking, it's what's amazing is that you can, as you get better and better at this, or more feel, or getting better at fitting a horse, just the things you feel that you never felt before.
It's the best.
And how that changes just how you approach a horse, just reaching for a horse. Gosh, I reach for a horse so much different than I did when I first started. It's just, it's just hard to put it in words that feel. What is that? You just say feel, and it's just hard to put it in words.
And I think that the interest, well, one of the things that should be noted is as we get to that unconscious component and that soul thing, and Buck's mentioned it before. All the greats really have mentioned it. Buck's does a good job of championing it, and yet I still feel like our community doesn't always listen. Is that it has to be unique, so you cannot compare yourself to someone else, because it's the very reality of having feel or having a communion between you and a horse requires a bearing of souls. And there's no way I can't compare that to you.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think at first, but I think it's human nature to compare yourself. At first, I think you can get caught up in that because you want so bad to be better. And then you see someone else who's excelling. And you're thinking, you have a tendency to compare yourself, but that didn't last very long for me. I just wanted to, I'm on my own road, my own journey, and just stay the course. And then we're fortunate. I think we're fortunate enough to have the relationship and with Buck, and also to be under his teaching with somebody who's, really pursued it in depth, and has been true to the horse from the very beginning. He's never, jumped off there on the commercial trail. He's never cheapened this at all. He's been true to it from the very beginning.
And for sure, to have someone like out ahead, being very clear that is the most important thing.
Yeah, and
right.
And these guys like Tom Dorrance, and they were just geniuses. And they thought of things. Of course, they read the old masters, but they also just had tremendous feel back to a horse. And really, the horse was the teacher.
Absolutely.
They had this uncanny ability, like a Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci on a horse, to be able to be receptive enough to learn from the horse what the horse needed for them to be able to fit them. And Ray Hunt said it all the time: fit the horse. It's a simple statement, but it strikes to the heart of it.
And again, that's going to mean that our results look different, because if you have Kitty and her breeding and her style and her, vibe, and I have Zorro and his breeding and his style and his vibe, and how it looks for me to fit him is going, and me and what I'm like, right, is a different deal. And so
I totally agree with you. The principles are there, but it's just like Buck says about this. He says, okay, I want you to do a slow walk, a fast walk, a trot, back to a slow walk. Says, so you need to figure out, I can tell you what I do to make that horse do that. But then if I told you what I did, it might not fit you. You got to figure out what you do.
Right.
And that means you got to reach down deep. You got to think about things. And, some people aren't built that way. Some people are.
And even for those of us, I think I'm built that way naturally, and it's still hard. It's really hard. One of the things,
even though you're built that way, it doesn't make it easy.
Right.
But you definitely have, you have a pathway though.
Yeah, I suppose predisposed to it. One of the things that was hard for me, and this is part of the reason I want to do this podcast, but one of the things that was hard for me when I got to a certain stage where you can't really talk about the mechanics anymore. Well, I mean, you can, but that doesn't serve you. Do you know what I mean? So the transition between talking about kind of specific universal things to this art form that you're now turning loose to, then it was like, oh no, I don't have any friends to talk to about all this stuff now. Because the framework for talking about it is different, right?
Right. Because then you might sound like that you think you know it all, or you're I mean, it's just some people just don't want to think that deep about things.
It's true, right? It's true.
But there are some simple things, just like one of the first things Buck teaches people is one rein stop. But some people said, you're killing, the energy in a horse by doing that. No, I'm engaging one hind at a time.
Leg at a time, yeah.
I'm teaching the horse collection, the basics of collection. At the same time, I'm getting control of his feet.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the cool part.
It's an amazing concept. When I first heard feel, timing, and balance. Feel, timing, and balance. Just
it means nothing at first.
Nothing at all. And I see guys that come here that work for me and they're learning the horsemanship. And I say, well, now when you do that one rein stop, you need to feel when to ask for the hind to come underneath. And it's like Greek, it's like a foreign language. And was for me too. But I never thought, when Ray Hunt said, feel where the feet are, and then Buck, reinforced that. I thought, gosh, it's going to be forever before I can actually feel that. But it takes a commitment. It takes time. It's like if you're not riding a horse 3 times a week, probably not going to progress a whole lot. But
yeah, 2, I would say, is your minimum.
Yeah.
If you're really consistent, like if you're truly putting in 100 rides a year.
Well, good. I'm glad you said 2. I'm gonna feel better now.
Well, I mean, but it can't be 2 4 weeks out of the year, right?
No,
it has to be 2 rides, 52.
I've signed up for the clinic. I'm going to ride for 2 weeks and then ride the clinic, and then I'll wait till the next clinic and ride for 2 weeks for that.
And if you have a nice horse and you're safe, heck.
But the other thing about it is, it's also a great community. So some people, you don't have to be the person who is going to just pursue this and, have a snaffle bit and basal and 2 rein and straight up. You might be somebody who just loves the community, and maybe you just ride your horse, 4 or 5 times a month and have a decent snaffle bit horse, but be a part of the community and care about horses and engage, just in good fellowship. That's great too.
Absolutely. Fresh hair and horsehair, right?
Plus the gear is great,
Oh my God.
Everything.
Shopping. You guys all with the shopping. I kind of was hoping you would be in your saddle room so you could show.
I don't have any Wi-Fi there.
Right.
That's strong enough.
Elon Musk is coming with the Starlink. We just got it. Did Kip tell you?
Oh, no.
Yes, we got the beta testing of the Starlink. So
I can have it in my saddle shop. Oh boy.
Yeah, not right this second, but in a year probably. Yeah. They're putting up like a gajillion satellites every 2 weeks, I guess. But it totally works at our house. There's little bits of latency, but it's coming to the saddle room. So then we'll do a.
This other thing is I think the best thing about the journey with the horse is maybe a better me. It's very humbling. Very humbling.
Yeah. So tell me what you thought about that clip from that I sent you. So I don't know which podcast is going out first or what order listeners are listening, but I got to sit down with Buck. It was really fun in December or November of 2018. And it is now November of 2020. And
That was done in 2018?
No, 19, just last year.
19, okay.
Just a year ago. But I haven't published it yet, but I sent you are the first one to get the Billy Money clip. Yeah. So what'd you think?
I was very humbled. Very kind words by him. It's like, what's that? The old guys on Saturday Night Live. We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, right? That's the way I feel. It's a very humbling journey. It's like today. I've heard Buck say this before. This is the worst ride I've ever put on a horse in a long time. I put the worst ride I put on a horse in a long time today. You're never there. You're always pursuing it, and it's up and down, up and down. I just trust if I look back on my journey that the slope is always going up, even though there are some dips in it. But the great thing about like this new, I go back to that tape, the snaffle video, is that if you got that down, you understand the progressions. When you do screw up, you know where to go back to build it back. It's possible that I could screw up the soft feel of my horse at a walk, but I know how to get it back.
Sure.
Because I've got to go back. Might have to go back 3 steps to get it, and then I learned something about what I did to lose it. And so you're always gaining, but you just have to always keep that kind of attitude that you ain't all that.
No, well, that's for sure. And it's like putting all these spinning plates, going, and you have to attend to different plates as you're progressing, you and your horse, right? Through the curriculum. I think you say progressions, and I tend to refer to it as a curriculum. But some people I notice, and I've done this in the past, this is one of the things I wish I could give to the people, the newer folks, is like, don't worry if you forgot something, or if you are like, oh my gosh, I need to attend to my hindquarter yield being a little bit better, or I need to practice the second method of yielding the hindquarters a little bit more. Why haven't I been doing that? It's like, well, you can't do everything all at once. You just handle the salient things as they come along, and eventually the picture will smooth out.
Yeah, if somebody thinks that they can, start this and go to a few clinics, and in about 2 years they're ready to teach people or something like that, is absolutely crazy. I mean, it took me 26 years to be a doctor.
26 years? What are you including? Kindergarten?
Grammar school, college, medical school, residency, fellowship. Okay, then you get.
Okay, can I ask you a quick question about residency?
Yeah.
So did you guys really work like 36 hours straight?
Oh yeah.
I don't understand that. How is that how do you not kill people after being awake 48 hours?
Drink a lot of coffee, and you're so hepped up with adrenaline that you're sharp.
That was even before Adderall, right?
Yeah, it's not good to do that. They change the rules. They say they change the rules. But
talk about hardcore.
But
yeah, it's a good point.
Difficult years. So what were we saying before you said that?
Well, so I was just talking about the curriculum, and as you're attending to different things along the way, I have kind of an interesting horse right now that I just got this really cool warm blood. It really looks like an offness. Like she's a super short strided with her right hind leg just randomly when she comes out sometimes, or she'll just throw it in there. But I look at her leg and it works fine. And if she drops to walk, as she has this nice long reach. If you ask her to go a little more, she has this nice long reach. It looks man-made to me. But I wish it would just completely disappear, right? Because I'm really excited about this horse. But one of the things I was thinking when I came in the barn the other night is there's so many things that she does not do well yet. She's a very wonderful temperament, very safe horse, as safe as any horse can be, but she is stiff, and she does not have a perfect hind quarter yield. Her lateral flexion is still a bit, I've only had her for 2 months or something like that, so I just think of even just assessing this horse. You can't even assess a horse until you get some of these basic biomechanics smoothed out. Because if you're like, well, I can't reach a foot, I can't do this, I can't do that yet, you don't even have an idea of the picture. And I know just from being excited about this horse, like I want it to come together like really fast. And I remember wanting that, when I was doing my first few horses, but you just can't, it just has to be laid brick by brick,
Yeah. And that's where, you learn patience, it's even when is a horse you've raised, and you have the best chance, to build the foundation correctly, you can still, get ahead of yourself, ask the horse to do something before they're not prepared to do it. It's always kind of funny though, because they can already do all this already without us. They do everything that we would ask them to do in the pasture. It's just that now we're asking them to do a dance, with us. And so, that's what they're trying to figure out. And then you add somebody else in there who maybe is not quite as knowledgeable as you are, and they've messed with this horse, and they've just, unknowingly done something that's caused a problem in the mechanics of that horse. And it could be mental, could be physical. And but that's a challenge to me. I think you learn a lot of things when you have a horse like that, about yourself, and also, how to help that horse do that.
And yes, and it teaches you patience. Sure, because you can't hammer it. I guess that's, the thing, right? Is you just can't hammer it together.
Yeah, when you hammer it, you're going backwards.
Right.
You're going backwards.
But when you get so excited, like we are,
Right.
then.
Like I was telling Ben today, he's got one of my interns here, and he has this music that plays with a Bluetooth, and I was doing some canter work, and he put on this really jazzed up song. And I said, my riding is getting worse with that jazzed up song. You need to get me something nice melody, because either it's hyping me up or it's hyping my horse up, but it's not working for me. So he put on something else that was nice, soft. But it's a lot of fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun. It's a process. Well, so has there been anything that's really, like, what's the worst thing that's happened in horses with you?
Oh, I guess losing a horse, foundering or colicking and something like that. That's something out of your control. That's that's the worst.
Hard on you as a doctor, not being able to fix it.
Yes. So we've had a couple of horses that have, met the demise from situations like that. But had one horse that colicked, and the vet was amazed. She got turned around, didn't have to have surgery or anything. And it's one of our really nice horses here. Her name is Cindy. But we're very fortunate to have a great vet who lives just 20 minutes from us. So that's fortunate. I don't know of anything else, I can't think of something bad.
That's good. That's good then.
It's been all good.
I would say one of the things for me, just as an example, has been finding a place in horsemanship land, through the threads of all the different communities, that I've been a part of, because finding kindred spirits, I would say, is actually, Buck and I were just talking about this the other day. How he was just saying that it was hard for him as well at times, but it's so worth it, because now he has people that he, that care about him a lot. And that's just important for me to look ahead, and have a mentor that says that, because as you're finding your way to the art, to the kernel of the art, like choosing the people to be around in a safe place, that was hard for me. I would say that's probably one of the hardest things with.
Yeah, I think, with this, horsemanship, since I really started in like 98, maybe. I've met some great guys, got great friendships. Heck, I was, able to buy a ranch in Nebraska, and with a fellow, Bobby Gordon, and I learned a lot about how to rope and handle cattle there, which made me want to have a ranch here. And I had a lot of great times and brandings there and here, and people come visiting here. Just a great community. I'd say all in all, it's been an amazing experience, and the community of people. There's always a few bad apples, even in medicine. You're gonna have bad apples, but I'd say on the whole, a great bunch of people who care about the same things, and are willing to help each other.
And when you find those people, it's so awesome, because you're like, if you identify with the other horse lover, as like, look, we love the way they smell and the way they look, and when they're fuzzy and when they're slick, and when them wiggling their ears when you're sitting up there, like, what's better than that?
They're characters. They have personalities. And they kind of buddy up to one another, and have their, they're very different.
Yeah, and being able to bond with a prey animal like that is pretty cool. And then be able to do a job on, like, I'm good at the bonding part, but I don't have as much of an opportunity to do a job as you guys do.
And that's what's having a ranch here that there's a job of a horse to do, that does something to a horse.
Yeah.
It really, it's really helped. It's really helped me in my horsemanship to have a job to do. But you have to be careful too, because I've gone into the trap of, get home, you got your medicine going on, you got something that's sick. And so you go out there and you hastily saddle something up and ride out there. You haven't really prepared your horse, and sometimes it gets a little. You get the job done, but it didn't look too pretty.
It got a little Western.
A little Western on the horse. There, I remember one time Buck told me, he says, "Hey, your rope, you got pretty handy, but your horsemanship's kind of lacking. You look pretty bad." I said, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, really." I said, "Well, I need help then." So
Good thing you're my teacher.
Yeah, that's right. And you just don't realize sometimes, you get so excited about what you're doing, you don't realize some of the things you're not doing, even though you may be progressing. That's what's great about having friends, and also someone like Buck, that he's not afraid to point it out to you when you need it.
Well, you need an honest teacher for sure, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, that we're trying to do here is, I mean, give some men, young women and men, because they have the time and their careers, they don't have a job yet, an opportunity to be around this type of horsemanship and also do a job with a horse, where they have a day-to-day opportunity to ask questions and to get some immediate feedback, where they don't have to wait, 3 or 4 months to be able to go to a buck clinic, and then they're afraid to ask a question. That's what's so crazy to me is that bucks in a clinic, any questions, and it's like nobody says a word. So everybody's afraid to speak up. So you pay a guy, $800 for a morning, and you're not going to ask him a question. You paid to ask questions. He's there to answer your questions. So I put that out, encourage people to ask questions. Buck wants to answer them.
Yes, exactly.
So,
and the other thing I would say, if we're just talking about prepping to go to a buck clinic, number one, you always have the opportunity to impress him. And yet you're never going to impress him. In the sense that anyone, I'm speaking for him now, but I bet you will corroborate this. Anyone who is trying, if you're honestly trying to learn, that's impressive. I think that's probably always impressive, no matter what you're doing, right? If you're honestly there to learn and take in information and you're humble enough to be trying your best, that's always going to be impressive. And then to the same degree, he was around Tom Dorrance and Ray Hunt. So nobody's ever going to truly be impressive.
And I don't want anybody to think that I've drank the Kool-Aid, and, this is some kind of a cult or something for Buck Brannaman. There's a lot of great horsemen that are out there that have nice horses, and they help people. For me, though, Buck is a person that has done a lot of work to try to make it understandable about the progressions and what you need to have done first before you go to the next progression, to make sure that you have the best success with your horse. Mm-hmm. And it's not, information that's all over the place. It's very succinct. Mm-hmm. And that works for me as a physician. That's the way I think. Mm-hmm. I think, I think in algorithms, do this, and if this happens, well, then you got to do this. Well, if that happens, you go down this line. If that happens, you go down this line. I just go down the algorithm. And so I like the way Buck thinks. He thinks to me in algorithms.
Well, and the cool part about his deal is that he does have a very organized curriculum, plus the feel and the philosophy that overlays over the top, which is what we like. Plus, we love him.
Yeah, we're friends.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, my confidence as a rider has gone up since you and I have become friends, because I know Kip can always call you and be like, "She's broken, fix her." So I'm like, I'll ride that horse, sure.
I have gotten quite a few referrals from Buck all over the country. I have cowboys flying in and operating on them. So
you can handle it.
We can handle it.
Yeah. Well, I know it's late there. What is it? 8:30 there, probably, huh?
Let's see. It is 8:33.
Yeah. I feel like we can keep going, but
I'm good.
You're good. You want to? I have more to talk about. Are you ready to roll for a little bit? Okay, because two things. One of the things that I think about is, and your comment about the younger folks that you have coming in right now because they have the time. I think there's probably a lot of older folks. And I just mean, maybe I don't know, 45 to 70, older that have not actually been able to realize their dream of having riding lessons or doing something with their horse. And I don't think we have a very good way to bring those folks in and give them that opportunity. And I think it would be cool if we could think of that, because I hear it a lot. Do you know what I mean? From people who, I've always wanted to ride a horse. I have a client right now who's 70 something, and he's like, I never did get to do that. I would love to do that.
Well, I'll give you a good example. I had his name is Gary Smith, and he called me for 3 years in a row. And he said, I want to come work there. I'm 64, I'm 65, I'm 66, and I'd say, well, you're too old, and I got, and of course, so finally I said, Gary, come on down, so he and his wife came down, and
3 years later,
and they worked for about a year, and then they had things change for them. So they moved to town, but he still works for me part-time, 3 days a week. And he's on his journey. Yeah. He was a pastor who retired from ministry, and helped take care of his wife. She had some health issues, but he's doing what he always dreamed of doing. So
that's so cool.
There's a lot of people out there. I mean, I wasn't that old when I started, but I definitely was later in life before, I wish I had done this when I was 20 or younger.
Those of us who are counting on you to fix us are glad that you didn't.
I got that going for me.
Yeah.
I think you're right. There's a lot of people out there who maybe are just now, who've always wanted to have a horse. But never, had the financial means or the time or a place. Now life has changed for them a little bit, and they're looking to find a horse, and Lord help them. There's a lot of people that want to sell them a horse, and
yeah. And so I would say, take it from those of us who are in horses and reasonably experienced. Number one, I would say that is doable, right? You absolutely.
Yeah. Just need to get good advice, and just make sure you're educated before you do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think maybe not buying a horse immediately, get around a safe lesson program.
Go to a local sale barn.
And buying 5.
Like we did.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
They were cheap. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Were they really? I've heard some crazy sales in the South where you can buy nice horses. Or
you buy a horse that's been aced, long acting ace. They wake up 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So you never know.
That is true. But we don't want to just tell people the horror stories
No, they're great stories. You find a reputable people and find a good horse, and then finding the horse is the beginning. Then it's being educated to know, how to be a good horseman. Mm-hmm. Being safe.
Right. Safety, fun, artistry.
Yeah. So there's no sense, learn to be safe. And that's why I keep promoting, Buck, but the foundation classes he gives, that's all about safety. If you can't do it on the ground, you can't do it on the horse's back. Mm-hmm. It's amazing to me. We sponsor a clinic, and every time we've done a clinic, I always do, we do foundation in the morning and horsemanship 1 in the afternoon. I have so many people, I've ridden in that foundation 2 times. And I said, well, you know what? I've ridden in one about 40 times, and I'm riding every one that I can ride in, because every time I ride in one, I learn something different, something more. I get better. This is the first year we're going to have H1 in the morning and H1.5 in the afternoon, or
Oh.
H, you know. But the foundation class, I believe that's the best class. Somebody who's going to get a horse, come to the foundation class, get the foundation videos, learn the groundwork.
Yeah, that's one of the things that would be cool. I think if Buck would do a foundation, he's going to say he already did, but another one would be,
I agree.
would be cool. Yeah, another one. And
it's on the way.
it is hard. Like, speaking from someone who's doing videos, it's like, oh, sometimes you just don't want to do it,
Well, he has his people.
Yes, that is true. He does. And I like it when he's over here in the California, Oregon area doing stuff. Speaking of which, so we are both going to be at a clinic. Now let's talk about what's happening in the present. So it is November 2020, Thanksgiving weekend. Okay, Bill, for us and for the future, we are all basically quarantined in our stupid lives right now. Oh my God.
It's crazy. It's hard to figure out the facts from the fiction as far as the coronavirus is concerned. There are a lot of information about hospitals getting money. They are getting money. There's a lot of false positive tests. If you spend centrifuge it more than 35 times, chance of a positive test is about 50% false positive. So I do believe that and if when you say there are 7,000 new cases a day, that doesn't mean that there are 7,000 cases of COVID. It just means it's a positive test. And there's a lot of false positive tests. There are tests, patients of mine have told me they've gotten lines and signed all the information, stand in line. They couldn't stand in line any longer. They went home, and then they got a call saying that their test was positive. They never had their test done. Patients of mine say they go to a hospital. They had one fellow had a knee injury. They said, if you get the test, COVID test, and it's positive, you don't owe any money.
Is that still happening right now, or was that just happening in the beginning?
No, that was 3 weeks ago. And so evidently the hospitals are getting money enough to where they're willing to forgive a $4,000 bill for a knee injury. So, and these are hearsay. People have told me this. I have no way to substantiate these as facts, but I do hear this repetitively from different sources who are pretty reliable. So I don't know. It's very confusing and it makes everybody suspicious.
Mm-hmm. Is there any way to get tests? My dad and mom don't want to have Christmas unless we can get negative tests.
Well, then how do you know they're negative? How do you know they're positive? I'd say take some Plaquenil, vitamin D, and zinc, chelated zinc, and then you're probably pretty well protected. And a mask, that is a religion now. Maskology. We need to build a big shrine like the god of Baal or something like that, because the mask might work if everybody wore it correctly, but nobody wears it correctly.
I do.
Well, you're the one. Nobody wears it correctly. I see people with masks all day long. Nobody. They wear it like this, and then every once in a while they go like this. Whatever.
The thing is, I think
vaccine's going to be here. It's all going to be okay. We're going to get through this, and end of the day, we're all right.
And meanwhile, one of the cool things I think that could come out of it is horses and horsemanship is one of the things on the list that we can do, and we can even do together and be safe.
And we don't have to wear masks when we ride our horses?
Mm.
Good.
I don't think so, right?
Unless
we're all in I don't wear one. Of
so
course not.
Riding, not outside,
No. So just another example of how horses are a universal.
Good for the psyche.
That's right. So that was another one of the things I wanted to talk about, because can you put your finger on why horses, I mean, we know it, right? That horses are good for humanity. Can you put your finger on why?
Yeah. Because the Creator made them for us to enjoy. And so he made the horse to fit a man. And he made man to fit a horse, because he gave us dominion over these animals. And he made that relationship work. He knew we would enjoy it. He designed us to enjoy it. We just didn't know how enjoyable it would be until we started understanding more about them. One of the greatest things that ever happened, what's the lady who studied the mechanics of the horse?
Deb Bennett?
Yes. She is amazing, because you can talk about all these progressions, but when you understand the anatomy and the mechanics of the horse and why it works, how they're uniquely created, there's an amazing design. And then you say, okay, now I understand why you got to get lateral first. Now I understand why you got to have, how you get collection. All these things have to work together. And she's done an amazing body of work to support that. But in short, because we have the same Creator, he fit us together. They're just different. They're not a dog, although my dog is barking outside trying to.
They are? Do you have a wiener dogs? Bring them in. I want to see.
Well, Ben, go get Leroy.
Yay! I've never seen him in video. Well, actually, you did. We're both wiener dog fans.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Leroy, he's a mess.
Does he hang out with the horses?
He'll stay there at the barn, just waiting for us to give him.
He does.
He likes to go get rocks and bring them to us.
Really?
Yeah, he loves rocks. And he also, right now, he's attacking the turkey. He's killing the turkey right now. Hey, Leroy.
Oh my gosh. Let's see the dog. And then we'll talk about why dogs and horses are different. Oh my gosh. Oh my.
Say hello to everybody.
Oh, he's so cute. He's so cute.
Where's your turkey? Go kill that turkey.
Oh my gosh. It makes me want to get another one. Kip's shaking his head like, no more.
Little turkey.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's hard to describe for people. I always think of like the difference. I always feel like I'm my dog's parent.
You're your dog's parents.
You know what I mean? Like I'm their protector. I'm the
that way, yeah.
But with horses, I don't feel that way. Even though we refer, I'm so-and-so's mom. But that's not what I
think is the difference there. You're the kind of like, I don't know how you would
peers. That's what it feels like. More like a peer relationship with the horse than it's different. You know what I mean? Taking care of a dog is like.
And the other big difference is that they're bigger.
They're much more expensive. Well, everything is manifest so hugely on them. I was thinking about that with Davina, my big warm blood. She's so big, and then I look at her, and her expression and her whole affect is just magnified.
But when they canter, there's about a minute and a half between each stride. So
I love it.
you're doing flying lead changes. You got a little more time to think about it.
Oh my gosh. So Nathan and I have been doing, we got to ride together for 10 weeks this spring. And we have, he is doing an amazing job, but I got to be the eyes on the ground for developing some flying changes in a really flat quarter horse. It was so cool. Because that is a puzzle in and of itself. How did you get stuck on the quarter horses when you started at the Olympics with all the beautiful warm bloods?
Well, I guess I always wanted to be a cowboy, So, and really one of the things that motivated me is that I was trying to decide whether I was going to quit being an orthopedic surgeon and go back to Nashville and record again.
Really?
Yeah. So I was doing some recording with Charlie Daniels' band, and Charlie's producer wore a big old hat, and Charlie did, and I had a place out in Steamboat, Colorado, and I had a place in Breckenridge. And so there's a guy that made some hats there called in Fairplay, Colorado. So I bought a few hats, and so I said, you know what, if I'm going to start writing again, I need to get some, some, I don't want to be just a hat. I need some real earthy things about me, and I grew up working on a farm and whatnot. I need to ride a horse or do something, that's real.
Yeah, so that's right.
That was kind of the other story going on behind all that. And so
I think that
I didn't do the country music thing. I turned it down.
Wait a minute though, because you've been recording some stuff, right?
Yeah, but we were given an opportunity for a contract, and but we had to make a choice between orthopedics and that, so we decided to.
We, being you and Nancy, made
Yes.
that decision?
Well, she would have done anything I said. She would have, but I didn't want to put my 3 girls in a bus and travel around.
That takes a special kind of dedication. Well, I don't know. It's maybe dedication is the wrong word, but yeah, that's a lifestyle, huh?
But as soon as COVID calms down, I am going to do my concert though.
You are. I can't wait for that. That'll be so cool. So we were talking about Christmas music. What's your favorite Christmas song? Legit.
I like all of them, but I think White Christmas, I like that song by Bing Crosby. And I also like Santa Baby.
Well, what's not to like about Santa Baby? I want to hear your version of that.
I can't
You can't.
Practice. I haven't practiced.
That one you might need to practice.
I like to do a song. I mean, Buck is.
Buck's a good singer. I can't.
I never used to ever sing in front of Buck. I was just messing around singing with him. So he can't even get me to sing unless I've got practice and I have my guitar and all that. So.
Well, I think that's a shame because you have a beautiful voice.
Surprised me a few times.
Besides
singing the national anthem.
Right. Yes, you've done that. And I've heard you sing a couple. I think I've heard you sing an original.
Yes, you have.
Very memorable. That Bing Crosby movie, Kip and I always watch that around Christmas.
Oh, White
Christmas. You bet.
Rosemary Clooney's in there.
Yes. Oh. Yeah. Do you know her?
Oh, a friend of mine. I never met her, but a friend of mine was her drummer. He now lives in Macon, and he's formed this Las Vegas type show. It's called the Macon Pops.
Oh.
And it's like a Las Vegas show, except it's clean. There's no risque things. So I've done a couple of things with them.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. I've sung with them a couple of times. It's really good. But with the concert we're going to do it for charity, and I was taking like about a quarter of the band and using it with strings and everything and doing all the songs.
That'll be so.
But then COVID hit, so.
Stupid COVID. Oh my gosh. That's so crazy.
So when's the next clinic? When's the next clinic you're going to ride in?
It depends on if there are spring California clinics, because I might ride one of Dave's horses.
I haven't seen the schedule yet. I know my clinic is September 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Yeah, I did see the schedule. And there are, well, I mean, it's not published yet, but there are, I'm just saying, who knows, what's going to happen, but hopefully spring. And then are you coming out?
Okay, by spring.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
The gym just closed here 2 weeks ago. Kip and I got to go to the gym
But what state do you live in?
Oregon.
There you go.
Yeah, we're not the only ones with closed gyms. Are your gyms open in Georgia?
I don't know of any gyms that are closed.
I don't think you know. Anyways, are you coming to Oregon in summer?
If it's after Dayton, I am.
No, it's before Dayton. It's the week before Dayton this year.
Oh. So what is it?
So
Oregon, Dayton, Ellenburg. So I might be. I don't know.
Okay, that'd be cool.
I got to look at it.
Okay, that'd be really cool. And are you hauling horses this week?
Yes.
To Texas? Okay.
I'm flying.
Oh, someone else's.
And I have a buddy of mine that's going to drive his trailer with my truck.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
I don't have my trailer yet.
What horses are you taking?
Kitty and Harmon.
Harmon. Oh, I don't know that one.
Kitty's brother. They're a year apart.
Oh, cool. That'll be awesome. So I can't get you to sing a Christmas song. You know my favorite song from White Christmas? Actually, my second, when you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings. Yeah.
So what we need to do is work a duet together. My plan is I'm going to get this as soon as the first of the year. I'm going to get this band together, and some people have kind of asked me about it. And what I thought we would do is that when Buck's here for the East, I would have one night during the clinic that my band would play.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. See, it makes me want to come. I haven't been East in a while.
Yeah, last time you were here to me was Clemson.
Yeah, but you know what? You and I met at North Carolina. Do you remember riding by me that day in North Carolina? Leaf was traveling with Buck.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was.
And what did I say to you?
I don't know. We don't need to talk about what you said to me. But you did ride over and say hi. Yes. And then we met in Vegas.
We did. And then
You remember that? I was like, I told Buck, I'm like, I don't think I really like that guy. He's like, really, money? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, trust me, he's one of the best guys ever. And he was right. I was so overwhelmed in Vegas. That was a crazy deal. Remember that?
Yeah. We went there twice, right? Three times.
I only went one time.
I didn't go the first time. Went second and third.
Oh, so it must have been the second time. But because I was there with you.
South Fork.
South Point.
South Point.
South Fork. Yeah. That was crazy to live inside for 3 days. That was the year that.
I'm sad that we don't have the legacy anymore.
You are?
Yeah. Kind of, but something like that.
Well, the Pro-Am's pretty cool, right? To gather everyone together.
We don't have that.
Well, that's coming back, right?
Will we kill that?
Yeah.
It's coming back, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what next year has to bring.
See something done in the middle of the country, like I don't know, some kind of a gathering or something.
Well, like a big fancy play day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be kind of cool. That's a lot to take on. Someone has to. That's the thing, right? That's a lot to take on.
Yeah, if you had to do an expo, a bunch of gear there, and then you also have some clinics and some kind of a, buck doing something, and maybe having somebody like some of maybe the Spanish riding school, some unusual stuff, come in there.
That'd be really cool. I would sure.
Resurrect Boucher. I'd like to talk to him.
What's the most interesting thing that you read from his stuff?
Cantering backwards.
There's a girl on Instagram. Have you seen the girl who's actually been doing that? She taught her horse and showed it. If I can find
show it to me.
I don't even know to say her name, unfortunately, because
I just would like to fly. I want to learn to do flying lead changes every other step.
Me too. Yes. Oh my gosh. Some of those things are on the horizon, right? Be so cool. All right.
Well, I enjoyed this so much. I'd love to do it again.
Yay. Thank you very much.
Your effort and everything you're doing to make people more aware of the horse and the community of people who that come with it.
Well, they're really special, and I sure love sharing.
Someone to go buy a horse and get involved.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. You can actually even ride your horse.
That's right. You can actually even ride your, but it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't.
Okay, it's okay. If you don't want to ride your horse, I have a few that I would let go.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Okay, so before we go, 2021, what's your horsemanship goal?
2021. I would say I'd have the horse Kitty. I'd have Pete straight up, Kitty two rein, and Harmon in the Bozal, and starting 2 new colts.
That is quite the ambitious, but not out of the realm of possibility. I bet you can do that.
And the way we're going to do that is we're getting better lights on the arena.
Right. Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's pretty ambitious.
And Nancy has a lot of jewelry she wants to make, so she won't know I'm not there.
Yeah, we should say Nancy Barnes Jewelry on Instagram. If you search for her, she has some amazing silver work. Just incredible. Yep. And so if people want to follow you on the internet, where do they go?
Instagram.
Okay. And
I need to put stuff on there, but I think what is it? Is it Dr. Bill Barnes? Yeah, Dr. Bill Barnes.
Uh-huh.
I'm on Facebook too, but I have like 700 friends, but I've never been on there.
That's what it's like to be a rock star surgeon who everybody wants to fix you. You just magically get friends. But on the Dr. Bill Barnes thing, it would be cool if you would just share a little bit more of
posting more. I need to do that.
Well, just some of the horse stuff, because I mean, you have a lot to share of what's going on at the ranch, and
just take time. I should have my director Ben to take pictures and post them.
Yeah, but
very good.
Do you not take photos with your phone very often?
Not very often.
Really?
I need to.
Are you lying about not taking photos?
No. Ben needs to take photos. He's taking photos all the time.
Okay.
Photo taker.
He's a normal human. Okay,
He's
good.
also dating my great niece too.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, so he's approved.
Yeah, he's approved, right?
So where can people follow Ben?
Ben Cunningham.
The Ben Cunningham. Instagram.
All right, I'll have to follow him so then I can keep track. And yeah, thank you, Bill.
Been here about a year.
Okay. I presume he's posting photos.
He does post photos.
Cool. Good. Good.
All right. We love you guys.
Okay. Love you too. Thank
See
you.
you next weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to see you Friday morning, bright and
All right.
early. I'll be looking for you.
Okay. Love you.
Okay. Love you too. Take care. Bye.